Welcome back, data leaders and learners. Basics of files input output. File is like a bucket. Inside the bucket, we can put lists, we can put dictionaries, and we can put any kind of basic data types like string, integer, and float. File will accept them. We have to first understand a file. File is a store of data in an encoded format. File also has properties like location, size, number of lines, and so on. So in Python, it can be expressed as an object. Files also is one of the main input and output mode of Python script. So as you progress in this course, you will be looking into various ways where you have to read the files and write to the files. Because as a data engineer, your primary objective will be to move the data, and the data most of the time, or in fact all the time, will be in form of some file. That is the problem that the file solves. So the data has to move into and out of Python script and out of various systems at high volume, high velocity, and high variety. So volume, you see the volume is very high. There are so many things that you have to put into the file and take out if you want. And there is variety, you can put anything, whether it is dictionary, whether it is string or float or list, you have to put it in and take it out. And then how fast you put in, that also matters. Let us proceed further. Example of creating a file object. The regular file that you have to create in Python, you can simply use the open function. You have to just use open function and give the file name. It will open as an object. It will not open the file. It will not immediately print what is there inside the file, but it will open as an object. I will explain to you how to read that object. But the same way, if you are opening a CSV file or an Excel file, you will be using a different function altogether. This is how Python is able to work with wide variety of data. The output of a simple open function is, it's a text output. But in case of, if you read CSV, then it is going to be table of rows and columns. This is where the power of abstraction comes into picture. I explained to you in a couple of videos also that all the complexity inside the functions or inside the templates are hidden from you and me. So you are just told that, okay, use this particular function and you will be able to read the CSV. But if anything goes wrong with this particular reading, then you are going to do a lot of search on Stack Overflow, Google, Medium to find out how to resolve it. If you understand how it is actually reading, how the file can be read in another way, like simply by opening the file text, then you can open the file and check if there is anything wrong. This is the objective of showing all these things to you. That is my primary objective, to make you go one step below the abstraction ladder inside Python. The template, if you are going to use a simple open file, the template is going to be string. And if you are going to use read_csv, pd.read_csv, then it is going to be a data frame. You see the beauty of what a data frame can do. If you are using it as a data frame, you can do analysis and make charts. But if you are using simply a string, you can just read and print lines. You cannot do anything more than that. That is the power of using templates and the complexity hidden from you. At the same time, as I explained earlier, the complexity that is getting hidden from you can create a problem also to you. So you need to know and learn how to solve the problems. Let us proceed further. Now we are going to understand the objective of this video. The objective of this video is to make you to write a script that reads a file that is given in a specific location and prints the first and last line of that file. This is what the objective is. For that, you need to first of all understand how to read the file, by what commands. Already I told you how to read the file using open. And second, how to print the lines inside the file. So even though I have told how to read the file, this open, it actually does not read the file and give you the contents. So how To actually read the contents of the file is going to be a different method. You might be wondering, okay, what is the difference between reading the file and reading the contents? Let me explain to you in the next slide. After that, we need to test all the commands in the command line interface. That we will be doing it in a couple of minutes. Now let us come and find the command. Before you go on a wild search for most of this basics Python that I have explained, we will be using the built-in functions only. As of now, or if you have gone through my earlier playlists, you would have seen that I have introduced the various data structures. I would have introduced the data types. All the data types, the data structures can be created by using the built-in functions also, like the list, dict, int, float, open, and print especially. So I introduced print in the first video itself by using the built-in functions. By the end of the basic course, you would have almost completed, you would have almost understood most of the built-in functions in Python. You would have understood how to use them. Second point I want to highlight here is that the file can be read into Python. The file can be read into Python using three different objects. One is raw binary, and text. You might be wondering, okay, what is a binary file? Why will you use it? In case if you are using the text file, or if you are using the files like audio file, video file, or any other kind of file that you want to read into Python, then you need to use it as binary. But we will be using only text, so you don't need to worry about it. I am now going to go and use the command open and start working with the file. You will be wondering, okay, you did not tell me how to read the file. And if you thought about that, then good. First and foremost, you need to know how to manipulate the file object. In order to manipulate and read the file object, you have to use read lines, and write. So these are the four major methods that you will be using. Apart from this, other methods are there. Still, there are other ways and ways to interact with the file object, but we need only these four for our objective. So let us go to the terminal now to start playing with the file object. Before we start playing with the file object, you need to have the file with you. We are going to work with the trail_file.txt. If you open that under using your notepad or WordPad, you will see that it contains these lines. If you don't have trail_file.txt, you can download the entire repo from the GitHub. I will be sharing the description link in the description. And if you go through my earlier videos in this playlist, you will find how to actually create a GitHub account if you don't have, and how to do git pull from the GitHub repo to your local drive. All these things I have explained. Kindly go through that. That is very important, and you have to basically set up all these things in your operating system so that your way of working will be much more streamlined. You will not be pulled out of the flow. Once you start programming, it is very important. You need to be in the flow, and you need to get positive feedback in order for you to learn in a fast manner. Okay, now let us enter into Python terminal. I am going to go into Python terminal. This is actually my shell prompt, and once I give Python command, this is actually my Python prompt. So this is shell prompt that is having a dollar symbol, and this is Python prompt, which has a kind of arrow mark symbol here. In order to open the Python, in order to open the file, if you go back to the presentation, I have told, if you have observed that, I have told that using this method of opening by using a file object equal to open is a bad method. Why? Because once you use this method to open, you have to manually close the file also, or else the file will get corrupted. To avoid this complication, I am telling don't use this method at all. Forget it. Don't use that. What you need to do is you have to use this format or this syntax for opening the file object or reading the file. When you say opening the file object, all I mean to say is read the file. Okay. Let us go back to the terminal. And if I go here and if I say with open and I open the file trial underscore file.txt and I ask file object 1. I'll be opening a lot of other file objects, so I'm giving it as 1. And here I say, first I am going to say object 1 data is equal to file object 1 dot read. This will read the complete data in the file and put it inside the object called object 1 data. I press enter. So I came out. Now how to print the data of the file? It simply use print object 1 dot data, and if you close the bracket, you will see all the data in the file comes out. So here you opened it using cat trail.file.txt. This is a Linux command to open the file. This is in the shell prompt. The same data has come out from this variable here, object1.data. The same data is inside this Python variable. That is how powerful the open command is. So all the data of that file is inside Python variable. You can do anything you want with the Python variable. So now for an example, I say I want to get the first character of the file. So I have to just say Python obj1.data, obj1 data and 0. So you will get only the T, that is the first one. Because if you actually do a type of obj1.data, you will find that it is a class string. So I told you that it will be a class string. So let me go back. And if you remember that I told it will be of class string. So once you open a file, text file like this, it will be of class string. So that is why you are able to use all the string related activity on this object. Next, I want to get the first line and the last line. I don't want to get the first character, right? What I am going to do now is I am going to again go back and I am going to use the same with command, but this time I am going to open it using file object 2. And there I am going to read object 2 data is equal to file object 2 dot read lines. I am going to use read lines. What this will do is it will actually create a list of lines inside the file. So let me show you that. Let me enter and come out. Now what I am going to do is print, and I am going to print the variable. So I have read all the lines and stored it in this variable, and now I'm going to print it. And if you print it, you will see that all the 7 lines, including the new line. Okay, what is a new line? New line is nothing but the enter key that we press whenever we create a text file. We press enter to give a gap between 2 sentences. That is called a new line character in computers. In computer, even though you don't see any of those lines, but actually there is a character there. There is a byte which is invisible to you or to anybody who, or even the application like WordPad, Notepad, and the Microsoft Word. It is not visible to it and to you, but internally the computer actually stores that. Even that actually comes out. Here you can see that there is a new line character. Understanding these kinds of simple things, details, is important when you are going to work with very huge files with lots of volume and lots of variety. This is the importance of going this deep. Let me continue. The objective is to print the first line and the last line. So how can you do that? If you are new to Python, you will not be able to you can actually do it by using the existing commands that I've already explained to you. But the easiest method is to use the list indexing methods. This I have not introduced to you till now. I'll be introducing it in the next video, where I will be explaining to you in detail about the for loop, the various kinds of loops, the various kinds of conditions, and how to use them with the loops how to use them with the data structures. That will be my next video where I will be explaining. Here I will be using a part of it, that is I will be using this way of indexing. So that is called as indexing in list. So if you use the syntax like this, object to data open square bracket 0, it will give the first value, first list element. It will give the first list element. And again, if I come here and if you use -1 instead of 0, it will give the last element of the list. So there you go. Going back to our presentation, the objective we have achieved. So we can right now print the first element and the last element. We have gone through all these 3 steps. We have tested everything. We know how to do it, and you also have understood how to go through this entire process in the command line. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to do this same activity using a script. So what that means is, you have to come back. I am coming back to the terminal. You have to go through these steps, whatever I have done here, that reading the file and reading the entire file, printing it, and then again reading all the lines, and then printing the first and second line. I want you to do all these things as a single script, and the script should print the lines to the standard output. That is, standard output is your terminal. It should print there. That is your objective. Before we close this video, there is one more important aspect of files. We only read the file. We did not write to it, right? How are we going to do that? Okay. If you see the way I opened here, all this functions, I never gave any kind of mode. Let us go back to the presentation for a moment. And if you look at the syntax of a file, I say there is a mode equal to R. Why I did not use that? The reason is, by default, the function mode is set to read, that is R. You don't need to provide that. If you are going to write, however, you have to make it clear to the Python interpreter. So I am going to read, this time I'm going to read, I'm going to write to a new file. So I say new file dot text, comma, I say write like this, as write file. So the object name is very clear. And I come here, and what I'm going to do here is that I am going to write the first and last line of this object, or first and last line of this trial underscore file dot text into this file. This is how you actually move the data from one file to another file. So you see how easy it is. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to say write underscore file, and I have to just say write, and I have to use object to data, and I have to give the first line that I printed at the top, and next I have to again say write underscore file dot write, and I say object to data, and I have to select the last line, and I have to, by using one, I have to write it, and I come out. So it is just giving me 21 and 30. What does this mean? So this means that how many characters has been written to the file. Okay, you need not believe me that this file has been written. So what you can do is, you just go out of the Python terminal, and if you do a list of the directory, you will see that there is a file called new underscore file dot text. Now if you open it in your notepad, you will see that there are 2 lines. This is a test file, and 5th line on 4th position. So this 2 line of text was written by using this command, these 2 commands. So coming back to the presentation, we have completed the entire process of reading the file, reading the lines, and writing to the file also. We have gone through the entire process. We have not used this for loop in this in this video. I will be explaining it in the next video, where I explain the various loops and control structures, along with the usage of various data structures. All these things will be covered in the next video. Next video is going to be really fun, because we are slowly building up all the basics right now. So after that, we are going to go in a very fast fashion. You have completed almost all these basic functions that we need to work on. And next, what we are going to do is we are going to use little more advanced techniques for controlling the flow and controlling the loop of the program. Just to recap, we understood the problem that the file solves, and we understood the various templates that the file objects create. And then we went to the command line and we tested how to open the file, how to read and write to file. All these things were covered in this video. I hope the video was helpful to you. Stay tuned for the next video. Until then, have a great time. See you.